Hi guys, welcome to my channel, CGonzalezBeauty. I'm Carolina Gonzalez, and this is the debut to my channel. And who else to debut it with but with my girl that I know for many years, Alessandra Ambrosio, and also Dominick Pucciarello. Woo! The board, everyone's been asking me for 90s inspired makeup, so I decided today that that's what we're gonna do.
By the way, let's just tell them how many times we work together, because we're almost every day we do this, and it's so much fun, and I get to look so pretty. Thank God for this too. They're so incredible, talented, and you guys get to see firsthand everything that is behind the scenes.
So what I like to do is always prep the skin, and so what I did is I always run a little bit of toner, and then I apply moisturizer and sometimes a little bit of serum. And so we have already done that. And then last step, before Dominick takes over, I will spray some rose water on her and let that all set in there.
So what I like to start with is I like to make Alessandra's hair dirty first. So a lot of mousse, especially at the top and the front, because that'll give the body and it'll build the hair. So that way, when you blow dry, and when you're done, you'll have movement, and then you can mess around with it, go all different directions, but you'll see. To get that like beautiful wave where it comes a little bit in the face, is you want to take this section and you blow it forward and down and then back. So normally Carolina and I will double team Alessandra because 9 times out of 10 she's running late, or we have to get her, we only have like 20 minutes to get her out. So we like double team her, but I'm gonna start just getting the front out of her way, and then Carolina's gonna come and we're gonna get her.
Ali has some skin pigmentation, and so I'm gonna go in there as corrected. I go in with a nice creamy peach blush. In this case, it's Laura Mercier Canyon and Praline. And I just take a concealer brush and I just place it over the areas first. Tapping on. She has it.
I'm gonna use throughout her hair this Phyto. It's like a. Do you see it? Yeah. It's a nice volumizing spray, and I like to. It helps pump up Alessandra's hair. So I kind of do section by section. You'll see me throughout, kind of just spraying. That's what I'm spraying. So. Me personally, I like a board bristle brush better than a metal bristle brush because the metal bristle brush over dries the hair. I know a lot of hairstylists like to use it, but I just find that it over dries the hair, and then these girls come with breakage, and you know, it's more work for me trying to fix something. Well, long story short, I like a board bristle brush.
So while Dominick continues to blow out the hair, I'm just going to go in and just cover the pigmentation for now and even out her skin tone. For today, I'm going to do like a base that's like concealer mixed with a little bit of serum. So I take a drop, just place it on my hand, and from there I just dab the excess on my hand. So the palette that I'm going with is the Correct and Conceal palette by MAC. What's good about this is it has all these tones in here, and Ale has a very warm skin tone. She takes good care of her skin and she knows to put on SPF. So what happens here is that a lot of the times
look at my face.
Does she? Does she always put SPF on? I don't know about that one.
On my face, yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's the problem.
She always does. And a lot of the times, like, her face is like 3-4 shades lighter than her body. So what I'm going to be doing is basically using every color except the lightest color in this palette, and we're going to go all over the skin. So and then we're going to marry. This one's the medium palette by MAC. Tap it on. Now you can tap with your fingers, or you can tap with a sponge, whatever you prefer. I go back and forth with both. now what we're going to go in is with some contour. So right now, what I'm using is a cream contour. Again, it's matte. It has no luminizer in it. And what I like to start with is the cheekbone. So I go directly under, not too low because then it'll bring your cheekbone down. And I do like to do it with a sponge because again, it mimics the skin. And I'm in a tapping motion, sculpting and carving. Continued, of course.
What do you do when a product is discontinued?
I search for it everywhere. I search for it on Amazon. I search for it on eBay. I buy it out.
People that bought it
Wrong
like the last
answer.
100.
That was the wrong answer. I wanted you to say, well, I'm in the process of making my own products.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. Sometimes you use like, powders.
No matter what, I always go creamy first. I, in the end, can always matte it out with the right powder. In this case, one that I can't live without is the MAC Prep and Prime. So what I'm doing now is that with the contour, I am marrying it to the rest of your body.
Nice.
I have to say, doing this is really difficult because normally when we're alone, we're like gossiping, or we're like,
Just
not
do it,
gossip,
Dom.
like
Just do it. Tell.
like no, but gossiping about like just our lives and stuff like that,
So what's going on in your life, Dom?
Nothing.
You're right.
What I'm doing here is taking that MAC Prep and Prime powder that I can't live without, and I'm just tapping on the other end of the sponge, and then I just look up. I set around her eyes.
Is it translucent?
Yeah, it's translucent, super translucent. You can use it for any shade. So right now what I'm doing is I'm taking two colors. I'm taking Praline. As you can see, I use this palette a lot.
It's almost done.
A lot. I tap into
What color is
Canyon.
that?
This was Canyon.
Again, so we use
From-
Canyon like for the pigmentation.
For the pigmentation.
And then we're using
I'm using it now for the blush.
for blush.
Where's
the
just
apple of my
dispersing it.
cheeks? That's
So
what I'm
your apple of your cheek is here. But I'm going in a circular motion just to spread it outward.
You want to make your hair a little bit thicker for the night, I strongly recommend doing a clip-in. And especially if you don't normally work with it, it's better if you do just kind of get the fullness in the back. They make clip-in pieces. I think 7 pieces come in one pack, which is amazing.
So are we gonna put it?
Well, I don't know. I'm undecided today. Let's see.
Now I'm going to go in and just go over her contour that we already built. What I like to use is the KKW contour singles. This is in single 3 and single 7. And I kind of mix both. It just flows really nicely. So again, I like to go into that hairline, the brush in there, make sure I'm in there. Into the jawline and the cheekbones. Down the neck.
So even if I want to do a foundation, if I want to use it as a foundation, I can still do that after.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do this with anything, whether it's tinted
Even if you do like
moisturizer,
when you do foundation or the
concealer.
the concealer, yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It works well with anything.
It's so interesting because in the beginning, my face looked white, like super, light. And now you're putting color back into
Color,
my
because we also wanna
skin to match. We want to
match
match
your chest.
This. We want to match my arms. We want the Brazilian glow.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite step is contouring the lip. So what I like to do is go with a concealer brush, and what I do is I tap into the cream contour, and I just go right where your lips have a natural shadow. So in this case, we'll go under the lip a little bit. And what's nice about this brush is that as you're applying it, it is blending it. Getting the bow of the lip, important. And just right outside of that invisible line of your lip. Again, what's great about this brush is that it blends it as we go. But since you're so warm, it has to be a mixture of like taupey and warm.
And you always do this, right? For any makeup? Or
I
no?
always do it. I always do it because
at
I
least the
think-
contour on the lip.
At least the contour on the lip.
Sometimes
And-
not the.
Most of the time I don't do a liner. But since we're doing 90s, we're going to do liner today. But I always do a contour on the lip.
I've recorded this so many times to do it on myself. And now everyone can have it.
So now one of my staple products in my kit is the Tarte palette in Bloom. I'm going to go in with Flower Child.
As Dominick washes his hands in the back. Of course.
Here, Dominick.
Hey, Dom, shut up, Dom.
And look up, and I'm just going to go underneath just a little bit. Now I'm going to go with Smarty Pants. I'm going to do that in the
Smarty
crease.
pants.
Smarty
Pants. That's
Smarty
like
pants.
my daughter's nickname.
Right in that crease. So now we're going to go with Jet Setter. And again, we're layering. So I like to ombre. So I start with the lightest and then I go with darker. So this is going to go right in the crease of the eye, more on the outer edge. And then just that line right in her crease, I swoosh it in. And really concentrate on the edge with the liners going in.
What's weird is like when you're doing it, when you're explaining it, it's hard to explain because when you're doing it, you don't even know what you're doing, right? Like you do stuff like when I was trying to explain what I was doing to her hair, I don't even know what I was like. Half the time, I don't know what I'm doing.
You're not used to.
Yeah.
And but that's the trick, you know, telling them and doing it at the same time.
Telling
As you're
them.
doing, you have. So now I'm doing a little.
Yeah, you kind of
know,
just
like
always
that.
gotta get into the rhythm.
And we're not used to because
Yeah.
when you concentrate, you don't tell anybody.
Yeah. So
It's like
again,
me. Oh, now I decided to close my legs and do this pose because you know I'm weird.
actually, this is a good tip because to know exactly where you need to go, you can look directly into the mirror and looking at yourself, and just that's how you find the crease and where to place the shadow. So I do that on the outer edges all the way in, and then also just on the edges just to bring it in. So again, I'm just ombreing everything. I like to use full brushes because the full brushes blend as you go. So you cut out having to use Q-tips for blending, and it just does it very seamlessly. So now I'm going to take a tapered brush again with Jet Setter, and I'm going to go under the eye. So now I'm going to go in with Leader with a touch of Rebel. So if you want to, and you want to pump up the eyes a little bit more, you can go in with the Leader and just go on the outer edges on the bottom. Marry the edges a little more. The edges a little fuller and deepen them. So a trick for me for brows, instead of painting them first, I glue them down, and I use the Got To Be. And I glue down her brows first
Before you put color?
before I put color.
It seems like a cow's looking like. Just like they
Keeps them nice and in place, and then I know where exactly I just want to fill them in, because I don't want to paint a brow. I just want to fill in the spaces. So I'm going to take this K palette pen that I love for many years. It's Japanese, of course. You can only get it in Japan, unfortunately. So I've picked it up in my travels. I always stock up when I go. And what I do is I just go along the hair, in the same direction that the hair is going, is how I brush on the brow.
So how many years did you assist? 1?
Less than a year.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's impressive.
I'm going in with just a little bit of the light, the Flower Child shadow. Again, just on the lids. But when we first worked together.
So yeah, it was like 20 years ago. I was in New York, and one of my first jobs, you were the makeup artist, and we were like doing something for Neiman Marcus or
yeah, with Kenneth Willard.
With Kenneth Willard, and it was like water. It was all water. But you're just kind of started. You're like so new on the business. And me too, obviously. I was like, it's my first year.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Me neither.
I was working on my own already. I wanted to go with that kind of monochromatic feel with the eyes. Instead of using a black liquid liner, I use this pen as your liner.
That's crazy. 20 years working together, and we're like the beginning for both of us.
Yeah.
Look where we are now.
I know, girl.
And we still look amazing.
From coast to coast, from the east side to the west side.
Right.
Just her sitting still is amazing, guys. You don't even know. Normally it's she's on the phone, she's over there, she's over here.
So a trick for curling lashes for me is that I like to curl the tips. The tip of the lash first. And then I do the base. So it gives it more of a curl instead of it being more of an L shape, it's more of a C shape. So again, tips of the lash, and then the base of the lash. And then if you have really super duper long lashes, I do 3. I do tip, middle, and then the base.
Then you're a lucky one.
Yeah, you're all lucky. So now with mascara, a big tip for me is sometimes when you curl and then you put on some mascara, the lashes get heavy and then the curl falls out. So for it to stay, I take a light coat of waterproof mascara because it acts as a hairspray. So it kind of keeps the shape. So again, I go from the base and I just brush outward lightly because I just want it to keep the shape. And then I'm going to go in with a non-waterproof. I always use waterproof on the bottom lashes because if you're out on a red carpet, I can't take the chance of it running on the bottom of your lashes.
If something happens to like a little thing gets inside my eyes, if I get
Anything.
emotional,
And
if I win the Oscar.
When you win the Oscar.
Exactly.
For sure, when you're married.
When you're having a baby. Anything could happen, guys. You should never take a chance.
Anything. You can't take that chance. Now for the final touch. One of the key lip liners of the 90s that just screams 90s is MAC's Spice Lip Pencil. So we're going to start with Spice Lip Pencil and then we're going to do strip down. And again, we're doing this ombre lip. And we already contoured, so where I'm going to go is right on the invisible line right here. Going slightly over the lip line. So that is spice, and I kind of bring it in just on the edges, slightly. Then as a lipstick, 1995 by Pat McGrath.
Look at those 90 lips.
Look at those
90s lips.
It's funny because sometimes people ask me if I put something in my lips, and I'm like, yes, I put spice, I put lip contour, I put lipstick. Right.
And then just for the middle, we're gonna go with a little bit of a touch of lightness here, and I'm going with Biscayne Park by NARS. In the middle. And there you go.
Can you see that?
Gorgeous.
That 90s look.
So thank you guys for stopping by and watching. Thank you to Ale. Thank you to Dominick. Teamwork.
So go on her YouTube channel, like it, follow.
And also, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.
Bye. Gonzalez.
You have to subscribe to CGonzalezBeauty.